Welcome back. Yes, indeed, that is Honorable Obinna Chidoka, who is a former member of the House of Reps. He joins us this morning. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today on the program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Laurie, we didn't get to see your own valedictory speech there, but that did happen. But there will be a lot of focus on the forthcoming 10th Assembly because the reps, they've given their session up to the Senate now to do that probably on Saturday or thereabout. But there'll be a lot of focus too on not just the ruling party in terms of who will emerge as leaders in the House of Reps, but opposition too. Because, I mean, we read today that the PDP says they will spring a surprise on June 12th on that day because they're holding their cards very close to their chest. What should we likely expect from all of what's playing out now?
So it's actually very interesting. From all the times I've been in the House and I've gone for the speakership role, starting from 2007, witnessed 2011, 2015. Sometimes you get to have these surprises. In 2011, initially, 2007, we didn't because we followed the party position when we elected Pachi Shete, if you remember. But in 2015, of course, you saw a deviation. From 2011, Tambuwal, and 2015, Dogara, you saw a deviation from the party norm that we'll have to go this way. Now, I think the 10th Assembly has been one of the most contested. As it stands today, we have about 10 of them running, and everybody is sticking to their guns. But I know that from what I've also seen, being in the opposition party, from the ruling party, they possibly have a preferred candidate. And the others are actually gearing up, hoping for a fight and hoping that they will go to the floor and spring a surprise. And unfortunately for the APC, by the time you add the minority parties, they don't really have the majority. Even in 2015, when they had the majority, of course, you saw what happened. And so I expect to see a keenly contested speakership and Senate presidency, and all of them are imminently qualified. Yeri was with me in the 2007 6th Assembly. He became a governor. Akpabio, of course, has been a governor as well, has been in the Senate, has the requisite experience, and apparently he's the choice of the party. In the House of Representatives, where you have younger people and more active, you see a lot of us running, or a lot of them out there running. And I expect to see a situation where the best candidate will emerge.
Now, will that still be the case? Because the last time out, we don't know how much the then president reached out. Okay. But now we see the president Tinubu reaching out to even members-elect from opposition parties. You see images of that everywhere. Isn't that going to count for something at the end of the day?
No, definitely. I joked with a friend of mine. I said, oh, wow, the other day I was going through the villa and I saw that the DSS have come back to the front gate of the villa. That is the major, not the pilot gate, the major gate of the villa. The DSS that were disappeared for about 3-4 years, they're back, showing you the level of activity going in and out. And I'm sure if you go to the visitors logbook, you're going to see that it's heavy. And he's had meetings back-to-back with senators, with House of Rep members, and I have it on good authority that he actually appealed to them that they should stick with the party position. And if that be the position and he's actually reaching out to some of them, we might not see the fireworks we're expecting to see. The party candidates who might easily just sail through, because they will have been able to appeal to different sections and factions within their party and, of course, within the opposition parties.
Why? Because it's an appeal, right? It's not...
Well, yes, it's an appeal. He's not whipping them into line. He's not threatening them. Because somebody asked me, why can't the party go heavy on them? I said, no, you belong to the same party.
Could you have learned from what happened during Saraki's time?
Definitely, because you don't want to destroy your party. So one of the things you need to do is to go back and talk to your party members. As it stands today, everybody is equal. There's no first among equals. Everybody have a right to become the Speaker or the Senate President once you're a ranking member. If I had returned back to the House, I would have been positioned to run for the Speaker. So at this stage, you're going to be appealing to one another to say, let's see reasons why the secretary to the government should go to the North Central, the speakership should go to the South Northwest, the Senate presidency should go to the South South. that is their position. But there are those who will say, no, we have every right to run. So I believe that it behoves on the president to sit down with his party, especially with his party, then sit down with the opposition and really speak to them, as it were. Now, I know there might be a bit of knotty issues here and there, being that there are a lot of litigations going on. The courts are sitting. So the minority parties, I'll use that word, might be hoping that they may have their day in court. So they might have to tell their members what to do. But do they have the numbers to upstage what is going on at the moment? Do they have the numbers? If they don't, then I see a position where the ruling party will most likely produce somebody who will become the 10th National Assembly leadership. And I must tell you that everybody is eminently qualified, as I've said. Those who are running, I see those on the forefront. Mabio, Yari, TJ Abbas, Betera, name it. The present deputy speaker is also running.
But if there was a member from the opposition groups that's running for speaker, shouldn't we know by now?
Absolutely, because I don't think...
Can you run secretly?
No, you can't run secretly. And it will be an exercise in futility. Because once you don't have the numbers, then there's no point you going out there to run. It's not an easy task. It's as if you're campaigning to become almost the president of Nigeria. You're going around the country, you're talking to governors, you're talking to your colleagues, you're appealing to everybody. You have a campaign office. Most of them have campaign offices at the Hilton. If you go there, you see the activities going on. They're cajoling one another, telling them what to do and what not to do, and selling yourself. So you must be able to tell your colleagues that this is the pathway to success, pathway to victory. And once you can show our people the pathway to victory, they're not going to take you serious. So they're only talking to those that have such pathways.
But as somebody who's been, as you've chronicled, in different houses and, with different leaders emerging, and looking at the fact that the strongest criticism against the 9th Assembly was that it was a rubber stamp. Do you think that the emergence, well, I don't know whether you agree with that term, I think it'll be up to you to say whether or not you do agree with the tag, but do you think that the problem could have been with how the leadership emerged?
No, I don't think so. I think in the 9th Assembly we got a speaker who is eminently qualified, who have a Femi Gbajabiamila, who, of course, emerged from the party system. The party wanted him, and he emerged. His background, being a lawyer, qualifying from Atlanta with what you call magna cum laude, he is eminently qualified. And he showed the way he handled the House. It's not because he was my speaker or we have a good relation or anything like that. No, the track records are there to prove. You've seen the amount of bills we have produced from the 9th National Assembly. You've seen times that the speaker had to go against his party. You've seen do you remember when he insisted that he would not sign the budget until they make provisions for, I think that was the NSAS, monetary provision for those who were impacted by the NSAS. You've seen him at different times at loggerheads. So there's no time we can say it's a rubber stamp legislature. This is a man that will listen to you intently and look at what the merits and demerits of what you're presenting is. So by the time you present the budget, and by the time you present your bills, by the time you present your motions, he looks at it dispassionately. He has given us, even in the opposition, opportunities to sit down and lash out at their party without reining us in.
So, but why do they have up to almost 10 people contesting, as you said, if he's listening to the party? The members?
Well, as I said, every member has a right. There should even be more, because the more the merrier. You have opportunity to choose people you want to run. But of course, we know the wheat from the chaff. We know those who are really running and those who are coming out to say, hey, so when there's meeting in the villa, I'll be invited. When there is
so they do these things for those purposes.
Why not? When there's committee consideration,
So I want to go back to that because apparently you do not agree that the 9th National Assembly, or let me be more specific, the 9th House of Representatives was a rubber stamp. But do you think that tag could have come from the Senate?
Well, Maybe. Let me speak for the House where I belong.
Because you're a member of the National Assembly overall. Yeah.
Yeah, but let me, because there have been also times where I've gone in divergence with the Senate. I remember some of the bills we put out during the COVID times. For the palliatives, when we even passed a bill that we should, if I remember clearly, pay some of the workers, create enabling environment to help those who are impacted by COVID. Some of the bills we passed at that time was not concurred by the Senate, but it helped in the policy formulation by the executive to bring about some of the palliative they used.
Why was that the case, though?
Well, I don't know. There are so many bills that were passed in the House that have not been concurred in the Senate, vice versa. So, but for the House where I belong to, I've seen because I've seen it play out. I've seen it play out. I've seen a situation where the Speaker has divergent views with the executive.
Nonetheless, there were areas that were not too stellar. One of them that easily comes to mind is this issue of the probe of the NDDC. And we saw how that, off your mic saga is still very much. And after that, after the leader, yesterday I had a very interesting interview I had with another member who was saying, the chairman of the committee was only trying to gain control of the seated when he was telling Senator Pabio at the time, who was Minister of the Niger Delta, to put off his mic. He was only trying to gain control of the sitting. And I said, well, after that, it would seem that the mics were permanently put off, because we haven't heard anything on that particular probe. So it does appear that there have been areas where the 9th Assembly hasn't, or let me say the 9th House of Representatives, we're going to be more specific, hasn't exactly given a stellar account of itself. So do you have regrets in those areas?
So having a leadership with 360 members, almost 90 committees, and having a legislative agenda which was put back by the Speaker for members to follow. Of course, there might be areas where we haven't come up to par. And in such areas, I'm sure that it wasn't what was envisaged by the Speaker and the leadership. There'll be so many probes like that. There were even so many committees that were, if you notice in the final day, rushing to submit their reports. Some who were given 2 weeks, but reporting back several weeks after and all that. But I must tell you, if you follow closely the 9th National Assembly, especially the House of Representatives, and read up and see the legislative agenda which was put in place, those ones had to deal with every segment of this economy, every segment of the nation, everywhere. And so sometimes you might have chairmen who bring their personal self to bear, and that usually happens sometimes. So it behoves from the Speaker to bring them in. The NDDC has been one spot that several issues have come up, also in the oil and gas sector, where we have so many other probes that sometimes we've been at divergence with the executive, and then sometimes members, maybe 1 or 2, haven't presented themselves very well. So when you talk about regrets, I don't see much of regrets. I think it's a well-passed mark for some of us who have paid attention to the work we've done there, who have looked at almost the 2,332 bills we considered, almost the 2,000 bills that were passed, majority of them members' bills. Over 2,000 motions that were put in place. It is a very hard-working house. And I'm taken aback when I see people to say, what do you people do in the National Assembly? What do you actually do there? And I say, come with me and see what we do. Sometimes you see the Speaker sitting from morning till afternoon, and in most times it doesn't happen. It's not only about him. It's about the committee chairman, it's about the members, it's about those who, there were 2,017 bills that were put by members. Who are the members?
All right, so as the guest said for Tuesday, while we wind down here as well, during when you made reference to how the Speaker emerged, even though they thought he was going to have emerged previously until Dogara came up.
Sure.
And the voting pattern at that time wasn't, it was secret ballot.
Yes.
So now, if it's going to be open ballot, the dynamic will change, won't it?
Well, it makes it more precarious for everybody. So
everybody will see what you're doing.
Exactly. What it means is that if you're going to any camp, make sure you stick with that camp. You can't come to me in the morning and say, I will vote for you, and then go to another camp at night and say, oh, I'm here. No, it doesn't work that way, because on that day, you're going to stand up and be counted. And I think that helps. My fear about the chambers is that once you get in there and the door shuts, you're in there alone. Whatever happens there determines what happens in the next 4 years. Determines who becomes the speaker. Determines who becomes the first among equals. So we must be able to go in there with the mindset that anything can happen. On that day, unfortunately, on Tuesday, I'm going to be on the outside watching. And of course, you know that National Assembly is under repairs. And of course, not many people are going to have access to the chambers. Many people are going to sit outside, and then we'll watch and listen to what happens. And then the horse trading is going to go on within the house. It's usually quite interesting. I love it when we do that. And then sometimes you see a surprise will spring up. 2015 comes to mind. But in 2019, you saw how the leadership and how the party, the ruling party, presented themselves and went strong against their candidates, and the speaker emerging with a large number of votes. So with that happen on Tuesday, with the surprises, with the opposition parties come together and agree and say, oh, we are going for a particular candidate. Have I seen such candidates? Have I seen what's on ground? Have I seen anybody who I feel that will bring surprises? You never know. Let Tuesday come.
Just before you go.
Yes.
Now, with the way the elections played out, particularly in the Southeast,
yes,
and the kinds of persons who lost those elections with their wealth of experience,
yes,
much as, yes, they may say it's democracy, so is the region going to benefit from it, or have they lost? How do you relate to that?
Without mincing words, I would say we've lost a lot. I can tell you that. When I stood up to speak at the valedictory session, I said, I must thank the people of Sulere 1 for bringing Femi back for the past 20 years. I must thank other constituencies that have brought back their people 3-4 times. If you look at it today, the whole of majority part of Southeast do not have experienced members returning. That plays a lot of role. This is not the executive, this is the legislature. The legislature talk about ranking. It depends on how many times you've been there. It is when the leadership of the House is chosen and when the committee membership comes out that we simply realize what we've done to ourselves. If you want the presidency, vote for the presidency. You should be able to look back and say, the National Assembly works about ranking. All the people running for Senate, for speakership and Senate presidency are all ranking members. You don't see a new member coming up to say, I want to be the speaker. It doesn't work that way. Most new members, they will be committee chairmen because as it stands today, there are only 66 members returning. We've never seen that before. So, and you have over 99 committees, you're going to have them. But those 66 members will be considered first when you have critical committees like Committee on Appropriation, Defense, Works, all that. You have experienced members so that they can guide the affairs of the House. And so when you do that to your people, to yourself and to your people, you are the ultimate beneficiary, you are the ultimate losers and not beneficiary. And I think that's what happened to us in the Southeast.
Thank you very much indeed, Honorable Obinna Chidoka. Thank you for coming on, and all the best to you.
Thank you very much.
All right.